What is up? Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're starting today with a nice cup of coffee, unless you're like 12 years old or 90 years old. I feel like for some reason those ages below that and above that probably aren't good to have a lot of coffee. I have no data to support that. But if you are going to have a cup of coffee and you want to support an awesome brand, well, I'm going to suggest you go to blackriflecoffee.com. They are the sole sponsor for the podcast for this year, spoiler alert for next year, and spoiler alert the year after that. Why would I want to do something like that? Why would I want to attach myself to a brand like that? Well, it's because not only do I love the brand, I love the people that founded it, and I believe in it. And if you go to that website, you're going to find everything you could possibly want coffee related. Subscriptions, individual bags of coffee if you want them, every type of apparel, from outerwear to just t-shirts and shit kickers around the house, anything you could possibly need to make coffee, and mugs, of course, and all those things. So support awesome people and amazing brands by going to blackriflecoffee.com and getting all of your coffee needs. And that's it for the business side of the house. Let's talk about my guest today. Repeat guest. If you've listened to the podcast at all or know anything about me, you know that I love bow hunting. Actually, I hate it a lot of times as well because it's so frustrating. But the only reason that I am actually a bow hunter is because of my guest today, John Dudley, one of my dearest friends, one of the nicest, most generous people with his time and knowledge and effort. Got to link up with him. We were both in the Salt Lake City area, so of course we're going to link up for at least a meal, and then we decided to podcast a little bit, and then looking forward to hunting season and hopefully linking up with him again. Episode 243 with the man, the myth, the legend himself, John Dudley. Enjoy.
Okay, I got the red smoke. Gun run, north and south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke. Okay, copy, west of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now. Come on with it, baby, give it to me, I need it. You're cleared hot. Copy, cleared hot.
Just shut your face.
I mean, that's a pretty good opening.
I missed you.
Cheers, I miss you too. What is this before? And I have to be careful because I've been known to have too many of these when you and I get together on a podcast, and then I have to erase the last half of it.
Oh, airplane mode. All right, got it.
What did you make these out of?
So there is. Let me think about this. There's ice. There is a really good bourbon in there that.
You remember the name?
It was made by some military dudes. They're going to be here tomorrow. It was a gifted bottle that I think we went like 60-40 with, just for total transparency. It wasn't an Andy third or fourth round pour, which those get about 80-20.
It's called a holiday pour, and you're welcome.
Yeah.
I actually was going to take off drinking until the wedding, but I think it might be better to condition myself into it because we went to a music festival, and Denver and I partook in quite a few cocktails.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like I need one or two warm-ups before the wedding.
I actually have to be on my best behavior, so you don't have to worry about me.
Dude, I never have to worry about you. You're the king of freaking ghosting people, dude. Like, you've never got crazy to where all you do is
I go to bed.
Dude, you pull everyone's strings in their backs.
Yeah, and then I go to bed.
You freaking just pull it till it clicks and let go, and when everyone's buzzing around in the freaking place and falling over and dying, then when it's like 11:30, you pull your freaking Charlie Sheen move and just slip out of the room and go sleep.
With snacks.
You do always have snacks.
After the music festival, we went over to Denver's house, and I started losing time a little bit around then, but apparently I took every bag of small potato chips that they usually leave out for the UPS guy and was hoarding them in the front seat as Leah was driving us back. It was amazing.
Dude, I almost posted, when I was going to say that we were podcasting, I almost posted that picture of you when you walked in our freaking spike camp in Montana when you and Barclay were together. Remember when you walked in with that box of potato chips for a week of hunting?
Yeah.
But dude, it was like you literally bought a full freaking box of like.
You guys asked me to.
I think we each had a large bag of potato chips for every day we were there, and we had a bottle for every day we were there until the third day when Barclay didn't see anything 3 consecutive days.
I was going to say he drank
Every bottle, every tequila bottle. When we got back with your bullet, like 2 in the morning,
13 sheets to the wind.
we came in and what did he say? He said something like, "You better have shot something because I've drank everything in this effing place."
But then,
I think we held up. We brought back the tenderloins, didn't we?
We did. We cooked the tenderloins that night,
like 2:30 at night, and then slept 3 hours, and then
briefed him on the evolution we were going to do heading back.
And there was probably a bear there.
He was not happy about that.
He did not like that. Yeah. Barklow might be a teddy bear, but he does not like bears in camp. So
that was the September 11th bull.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot. We carved that thing up and then left the vast majority of it up there.
Yeah, we shot that sucker in the last 30 minutes, got pictures, and
almost broke my hand from the fist bump from Caleb.
Yeah.
God damn, it still hurts a little bit. He had some enthusiasm behind that for sure.
He was so pumped, dude. Yeah, he was so pumped. That was awesome.
Dude, you look fantastic. You need to explain to me what you have going on dietary-wise.
So
because you have been posting about it, but I've been meaning to pick your brains about what you have going on.
I think whatever Matthew McConaughey was on for Dallas Buyers Club, I feel like that's where I'm going.
That was a movie about a guy with HIV, so I'm pretty sure that's not the path you're taking.
I'm not saying that, but whatever he had to do to get to that character is what I'm saying is kind of how I feel. Dude, I'm on pace right now. For your wedding, I'll be 40 pounds down.
What did you change? And also, why?
I just went, honestly, have I ever had times where all of a sudden I just like make up my mind I just want to do something and I'm kind of all in or not?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I think in November I stopped drinking for that month. And it was mainly because I was coming out of like the hunting season and everything, and I was ran down, and I'm like, just try to freaking build your body up and do it. And what's stupid is I stopped drinking for a month, and everyone's like, "Oh, dude, how much better did you feel?" And I go, exactly the same. I hurt in the same places. I still didn't sleep. I felt the exact same. The only difference was like I was a party pooper 30 times this month. And so I kind of thought about that for 2 months. And then I thought, I want to just clean up my diet to see, because I've never, like you probably know this, I've never really processed carbs good. I never feel like any like potatoes or I've never felt like that sat well with my like stomach biome.
And processed carbs are probably even worse.
Yeah, and so in January I was with Clancy, and I go, I just want to do like something extreme. I go, I said I want to just see how lean I can get. And he goes, dude, our bot, because me and Clancy have very similar structures.
Who's Clancy?
Mike Clancy, Fancy Clancy from BRCC. You would know him.
I don't think so. I thought you were talking about the author, Tom.
No. Mike Clancy. He's like my height. He's got a dark beard. He wears the Bigfoot costume for Black Rifle. Fancy Clancy's his name. He just got his purple belt.
No, I don't think I've ever met him.
He was in the trailer out like behind there last year for a while when he was in transition, like of living quarters. But anyway, he's a super cool dude. And he goes, for me, keto worked better than anything. He's like, and I've tried them all. And Rogan kept telling me, he's like, dude, do carnivore, but add berries. And it's too hard for me to eat. I actually like vegetables, so it was too hard for me to go full carnivore, and I didn't feel like it was sustainable.
I don't have the palate to eat all meat all the time every day.
Yeah, so I just went I called Clancy, told me, he goes, hey, here's the 3 things that I started on that I ate, which was like a couple eggs over easy. He fasted till late morning, which I already do that anyway. And actually it's curved my appetite a little bit. So I'm not hungry. I can fast like 18 hours right now, and it's not even a problem. And even when I was in BC on having some like nuts and cheese in my pack, I drank a lot of waters and stuff like that. Like I was totally good to go. But Clancy gave me 3 things that he ate, pretty much told me what I couldn't eat. And then Sharon got me a keto magazine. I read it, and then I called Peter Attia, And I told Peter I'm going to try keto, and see, Peter was like one of the originals to keto back when he swam like the islands and everything. And he goes, he was on keto 6 years. So I go, can you give me like a starter guide of where to go?
Yeah,
and
Keto 101.
Yeah, and he goes, you're not going to really like mine, because he's like me. He's like all in or all out.
You call that being an extremist.
Yeah, so Peter's like, here's what I ate every day, and he kind of told me, like, it was this portion of meat, it was this salad. He ate the same 3 meals for 6 years.
Oh my God.
3 or 6 years or something like that. So I haven't done that, but I'll it's really easy for me to eat. Like, I'll order a large pizza and I'll take all the toppings off and just leave the freaking whole circular dough there and just like eat that. Or if I go to an Italian place, I'll say, hey, can I have some like grilled asparagus, some of your Italian sausage, and some marinara on the side, as long as, you know, there's not too much sugar. And once I started monitoring what I could and couldn't have and like how my ketones would fluctuate, I just realized like what I could kind of do to cheat or not. And I found like a certain wine that's a dry wine.
Yeah.
So I can have that. It's called Palo, I think. But yeah, I've been on keto since January 31st, and I was 253 when I started, and this morning I was like 215.7.
That's like what I weigh.
That's right.
But you're 3 feet taller than me.
I know.
At least it looks that way in
getting a
pictures.
chump. But
Or when I'm on the back of a motorcycle.
You know what everybody's thing is about keto? Every person that I've talked to says, I liked keto, but it's not sustainable.
I didn't find it to be for me, but I also...
Wait, I think you told me, you're like, I was low on energy. I honestly don't find that.
I was low on energy. I think I was combining two things probably improperly. The intermittent fasting and trying to eat keto, but also trying to really early on figure out jiu-jitsu as well. So my energy expenditure was absolutely through the roof.
Yeah.
And I would go to an hour-long class and an hour-long open mat.
You'd
and about
torched, dude.
30 minutes into the open mat, I felt like I was dying.
Yeah, and I might, honestly, if I went to a full open mat, I think, you know, I might be gassed. But in saying that, there's two things. So this year, I changed insurance. And when I did that, like, we went with a high deductible. And they said, you know, once you meet this deductible, everything's going to be paid for.
Yeah.
Well, I've had, you know, tinnitus forever. My freaking nose has always been blocked. So I went and got I got prescription for my close vision that sucks. I got my ears totally done. So I got like really good hearing aids for hunting season and everything. Like, you know, I mean, they were a lot, as much as you could get. And then I had all my sinus work done and my nose straightened out. So now I've like, honestly, it should be mandatory that anyone that struggles with breathing the way I had my entire life, it's so different right now. Like being able to sleep, my sleep. It's hard to say if keto did it because just being able to breathe.
Yeah, so many variables.
Yeah, I have a lot of variables, and I've kind of slowly added stuff back in. I'll definitely say that once I've weaned myself off of alcohol, if I drink more than a drink in a night, I definitely don't sleep as good. I do know that.
So how do these cocktails affect your normal dietary strategy?
It's right now it's probably about on par. Like if we're doing a charcuterie board or something, I'll normally pour a glass of wine, but I'll milk it the whole night.
Yeah.
You know, and I just won't get. And I kind of have times where I'll tell myself on this day, I'm just going to say, screw it. Like when Harry graduated, I go, where do you want to eat all day? Because we went to a bunch of spots, and Harry's, he's actually working at like a tap house. So he's working with a lot of like draft beers, and his palate's totally changing. Like
fucking leather aprons and skinny jeans and
dude.
Mustache wax.
Yeah. Well, not mustache. Well, he might wax.
Not for him. I'm
stash.
talking about the people he's working with.
Yeah.
Yeah, man buns probably tied in a variety of fashions.
So some days I just say screw it. I'm gonna be off. But what's nice is if I get off keto, I can. If I get off keto and I fail, I can actually get back on in about 18 hours. So what I'll do is I won't eat high fats when I know I'm not in ketosis. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll keep my protein about where it's at, and I'll go very vegetable high, but I'll drop my fat. And for me, when I've done that, I can get back into full ketosis in like 18 hours. So it's really not that bad. It's not that bad.
How long are you going to do it for?
What's up, everybody? Can you guys hear us? Okay, sweet. We haven't even said where we are. We're already
We're
talking.
hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
This was your
that
idea,
dude did
so go
not
ahead.
like me taking this tree. Like, did you see that guy like looking like, where's this freaking tree? Yeah, so we're at Total Archery Challenge in Utah, and we literally took over Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation stage before they set it up to do a podcast, and just kind of told anyone that wants to come hang out. So that's it.
How long are you going to do this crazy diet for?
I don't think it's crazy. I feel so good on it, and I like how I feel when I eat, and it's not hard for me to eat on the road. And honestly, you know, in hunting season when I like really get into it, a lot of times like I just don't really eat a lot. I might have like one meal at night. When I was in BC, I had a couple things. I did Winter Strong, which, dude, I stuck to the plan at Winter Strong, which was kind of like, I couldn't believe that happened. I did 2 different black rifle events, the adaptive shoot, a bunch of tacks, and then I went to BC. And when I went to BC, shout out to where I hunt up in BC, Nick at Chipotle River Outfitters. So I took, some hunters had bailed out on him, and I feel bad for all the Canadian guides that have really lost business during the COVID era. So Jeremy, Dusty's dad, Bert, so Bert, and then Jeremy actually worked for Bert before Dusty did, but Bert was my first mentor in the wilderness. He really was. Like when it came to real wilderness hunting and spot and stalk bears and all that stuff, Bert was my mentor, so I feel like I owe him a lot. And I had never seen him shoot something for himself ever, or Dusty, other than a turkey when he came and helped me when I had my shoulder surgery. So I got bear tags for everybody. And I just said, like, I want you guys to shoot. I'm secondary. So Nick, Jeremy, me, and Bert stuck together, and we hunted from, we just drove those huge lakes. And when we'd spot them, we'd bail out and we'd go. And
that setup is so awesome.
Yeah.
So Bert was my first guide up there too.
Yeah.
That's where I learned the rule: if the cap comes off of the fireball, you have to drink the entire bottle, which is a ridiculous rule, by the way.
It's not.
Because he would crack it and then spin it with his hand out the window. What the fuck, man? It's 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, there was many fireball caps, like, in the rocks, like, right at the end of, like before you even got on the boat.
So how does that work with your ketosis?
Dude, I had those Baby Bells, cheeses and cashews, and I would kind of just have some of those, and I wouldn't go crazy on the fireball. Now when someone killed one, I would partake with the fireball around.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think because I'm so strict in other times, I think like when I come out of ketosis is a pretty small window. And I don't know this for a fact because I'm not an expert on keto, but I'm personally feel like if I know I'm not in ketosis and I don't go heavy on the fat side and I stick more on the vegetable side, I feel like it's the catalyst to kind of push everything through and stabilize my blood sugar. But my hunger, it has been so stable. And my energy. Like, I don't want to change it because I feel the same every day, all day. And in the weight room, I haven't lost any gas. And the other thing that Clancy told me to do is he said, I go, yeah, running is just not for me because of the weight, and just pounding.
The incline walking.
Yeah, and so he goes, dude, I put a freaking full weighted vest on. I put max incline, and I put it at 3.5, and I literally hit start, and I would walk for 30 minutes at 3.5, And I just go, okay, I'll do that. And so from day one, that's what I did. And I mean, I'm freaking drenched. It's not like I'm not smoked, but you're like going, at like 4,000 RPMs or 3,500 RPMs. You're going at that for 30 minutes and never letting off the gas pedal. And it's like perfect. And what's weird is when I put a full weighted vest on, what's a full weighted CrossFit vest?
That varies because they have the internal plates that you can put in, or they have the ones that have the little sleeves that are like 2 pounds each. It could be up to like 40.
I've got full plates, front and back.
Somewhere between 20 to 40.
Okay, I figured 30, just like holding it.
Yeah.
And so it was amazing to me the difference because I didn't wear it at first, but then I put it on, and it was amazing to me the difference of what that rucking would do.
Yeah.
Once I got acclimated to where like I was doing 30 minutes. And it worked out perfect for me. For those of you listening, I'm like a multitasker. So part of what I have to do is, I might have to like proofread something, or I might have to watch something on Vimeo to proof a video that we're bringing out. And so there'll be all these like little 10-minute videos that I have to watch and make notes on like, hey, put a B-roll of this in here and that. And so now what I do is I just put Vimeo up on my TV, and I'll just do my power walk, and I'm just like writing notes to Antoine.
That probably makes the time go by so fast.
Dude, it's awesome. And I get that crap done that I don't want to sit down and do. So it's kind of nice. It'll be like I'll go do my regular lift, and then I'll just go in and like get on the thing, and I'll do that stuff. Or when you wake up in the morning, you've got like I've gotten really good about putting my phone in Do Not Disturb. At like 8:30, I put it on there, and then in the morning, I won't undo that until I work out. That's my rule. So if I get up in the morning and I'm gonna not work out in the gym, then I can't text anybody yet. So it works out sweet. I'm like getting up, getting my workout done. I'm just like, get this done. Then you can like unlock your phone. And then when all those texts come through, if I don't have videos, I'll get on the treadmill, and I'm just like texting and walking.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
And, dude, when you open Graham in the morning, there's a few DM from friends. You've got texts that come through at night. You spend 30 minutes or an hour with your first couple cups of coffee at the table just like –
sorting your way through it.
Like booting up, really.
Yeah.
So booting up while I'm on an incline and walking when I can handle it has been freaking awesome.
What kind of treadmill did you get for your garage?
The Peloton. It's actually downstairs.
Okay.
So where where I used to have the bow room.
Yeah.
That all got – Sharon didn't want like the Superman cave. So she's got her Peloton bike and her Peloton treadmill down there, and like some of her lighter weights and yoga mats and stuff. And then, I'm in my own building with like everything I built now, which is awesome. I just go in there and –
arrow still in the hole? In the door
dude,
from Jim Miller?
Yeah, dude. Good. The painter, the painter was taping everything off, and he pulled, he was pasting the holes in the doors, and then he, was reaching to grab the vein, and I just happened to come in. I go, whoa, dude. I go,
don't touch
tape around all that. So he filled every hole, in that door, and the whole room now is black and white. And, right in the middle of that big-ass white door is, the green fletching and the knock.
Yeah, those are treasures. You can't move those things.
I know.
Every one of those has a tail.
Yes.
Like the arrow hole from Chad in the barn that's, I don't know, 25 feet above where he should have been aiming.
Torsten. There's
Jason.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I don't know if I've, publicly said that, but freaking Garner freaking did it, dude.
Was it a silverback too?
Yeah, so
was it silverback plus noodle arm and just created that problem?
Well, he had never shot at all. So I kind of built him a bow that was hunt ready, and he had never pulled one. So I ended up having to back it down because, when I'm there working with people, and I had Econ and Jason both there and Econ's son. So two of the guys were team guys, both Jocko's buddies.
Yeah.
Did you work with Jason? Ever?
Not directly with Jason. We were at the same command a few times.
Okay. So, awesome dude, but he's kind of like like a Bridges. He's surprisingly smaller than I would have thought.
Most team guys are about his size. I am
Dude.
abnormally tall for a team guy.
Yeah, I don't think I would have freaking made it on a lot of your stuff, like my height. I feel like I would have struggled. Because I
Your
look at
neck probably would have broken in Hell Week because people ask, they're like, well, how do you pick what the elements or the units are that you go in training with? And it's a height line. But you would have been at the far end of one of those height lines, and I suspect the next person would have been 6 to 8 inches shorter than you. So you would have just been like sideways underneath the boat, just compressing your neck for the rest of your life. Tingling fingers and toes. Yeah, you would have been punished.
It would have been awesome. So, yeah, I made the mistake of I kind of thought about keeping their bows because we came to the house and we ate. And they had all their bows. They were in my truck, and they go, should we take our bows back to the school? And I go, yeah, you can do that. That's cool. And
I already know where this is
going.
Yeah,
dude, I walked in the door at like 8 in the morning, and they were looking at me like, so there was an accident. And I'm like, I'm looking around like, because I'm fully expecting an arrow in a wall or something. And they just like point up, and I'm like, holy crap. Like there's an arrow through through the roof, literally like through. So it's like half in, half out, which I have several arrows half in, half out on my main building. So like my building's starting to look like Hellraiser, freaking. And I looked at him, I'm like, you freaking launched one on an air draw, and he's like, is that what you call that? And I go, yeah, dude. And he's like, I tried to get it down. I'm like, no, you're not getting it down.
it has to stay.
I'm like, that you live with that. You're living with that forever.
Yeah. Some of those bows, though, have a big boy draw. Like the new Levitate that you sent me, the first time I drew that back, I was like, oh, god damn.
Well, I didn't want to tell you I gave you an 80. I thought maybe you would just not know.
I tell people it's 95, so.
Yeah, because honestly, who were we talking to the other day when they go, you have one of the new ones? And you're like, duh. Oh, Glover. Mike was, he was saying, I want to get one of those new bows, and you're like, they're awesome. And he goes, do you have one? And you're like, yeah, freaking 9 months ago. So all of our first ones, I don't even think they had numbers on the limbs. Like, I don't think the deflection numbers were correct. I think I assumed it was going to be kind of a heavy 70.
Oh, it's a heavy 70.
I think it's a heavy 80, actually.
The arrow cast on it is almost non-existent.
Dude, so right now on my bow that I'm shooting here at TAC, I'm actually shooting, I've got a number 33 sight scale on.
Mine is into the 20s for the first time.
Upper 20s.
Yeah, I used to, though, I think my previous bows were like 18 or 19.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah. I went up 10, and actually Sharon just did. So I just built Sharon's, and she started shooting because she's going to shoot TAC with us in Montana. So Sharon shoots a 40-pound. She had shot a PSE carbon, the Mach 1. She always shoots 40 pounds. She's got a 26.5-inch draw, and she shoots an Axis 500 with aluminum in the front. Dude, I took her sight and her rest off her old bow, mounted on the Levitate, put it at 90 degrees, shot it through paper. It was like a perfect like 6-fletch dot. So then I went outside and I put the sight on 20, but I went to like my big ass bail because I'm like, I just wanted to hit the bail. It centered the white dot first shot, like with the sight that I took off her other one that was on 20, put it on. So 20 was good. So then I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to check this at 60. So I went back to 60. Dude, I barely hung the top of the bail.
Oh, wow.
I had to shoot her sight set at 50.5 yards.
For the 60? At
60 to hit. Like, that's how much more efficient it was than that old large cam that was down that much compared to the Levitate in itself is faster for sure. But I think the efficiency at her draw is spectacular. And so She went from a number 2 sight scale to a number 11.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
Denver's loving his, by the way. That was one of the best gifts ever. He was also classic guidance. Like, hey.
oh yeah, dude.
Well, when we first came out and I brought Denver Lee and Erica, and you're like, just, shoot at short range, and then all of a sudden you're like, where'd Denver go? And he's just out on your range, just
yeah. Yeah.
How can you not, though?
Well, I put the sight scale on his, and I go, hey, dude. He goes, how far will I be able to shoot with that? And I go, if you put it on the number,
that's how
far it's going to shoot. And I said, however, the best thing you can do is get 1,000 reps with your silverback at close distance, big target, just really work on the shot. Dude.
That means immediately set it to 100 and just drop them in.
I literally went and started the Traeger up and came back around, and not just him, everybody. I mean, the girls were dropping 60s like 20 arrows into their life.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you went to 100 like
the first day with you.
Yeah, I was actually we're only 2 weeks off of our I think our 5 or 6 year anniversary.
Yeah.
Us.
For sure.
So, like the second
official meeting. It'll be the second official meeting, but the first time we remember.
But freaking barely, dude.
Seriously.
Because that first night, I just thought, like, because Sharon hadn't really met you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's just hang out. So we just sat on the back deck and hung out.
And drank everything in your house.
Dude, I did not realize, because honestly, we had that fire going, that little propane fire.
Yeah, it was late August. Iowa was beautiful outside.
It got dark at like 9:30, and then we sat out there till probably 2:30, 3.
Probably.
And when we went out in the morning, well, you beat me up. I was hurting. I was like, oh, damn. Yeah, I'm hurt. I'm hurt. When I woke up, I text Sharon. I'm like, are you okay? And she goes, I'm in the kitchen. And I go, all right. I said, well, just stay quiet, and maybe Andy will sleep in. And she's like, we're out here talking. And I'm like, oh, no. So I, like, crawled out there, and you guys are just living it up. And then I, like, looked out the kitchen window to our little setup out there. Dude, there was 3 wine bottles and a full, was it Bullet?
It was.
We drank a full Bullet.
Yeah.
And a Tito's?
Probably.
And the wine.
Yeah.
It was
a quality effort.
It was vicious.
We've backed it off since then, occasionally.
Well, we've definitely backed it off in the last year.
We don't get to see each other as much, though. Nearly as much. Our hunting schedules haven't aligned either. And
last year they did.
A little bit.
Which was awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's true, because we both went out eastern Montana. Most importantly in our schedules, though, when are we going to get you back in the air?
I'm ready right now.
I think I'm going to have to check with my buddy Jim, who I think you met.
I think we go back to SD.
We have to.
I'm totally down. I'm totally, like, good going down. Is it best to jump in the morning, early morning, like right at first crack? Or is
it doesn't really matter. You're going to have less wind. And for wind coming into a canopy, if you have a little bit of wind, it's actually going to perform better on that flare. But I personally don't think there's a bad time of day to jump. Sun up, sun down. I mean, just get after it.
Dude, I think we need to do I want to book an actual week where we go down and let's do the trifecta again. Because I think it'd be cool. You and I could because I'm not going to get up at like 4:30 with Jocko to work out.
I also am not going to do that.
But I would I'll get up to get my shit done at that time, and then I would like to go jump till like noon, and then we come back and like grill, chill. I think we need to like go to Victory, roll a little bit. I mean,
are you sure that you want to do that again?
Dude, I'm good. Yeah.
Your second maybe just don't roll with Jocko. Your second data point, you have 1 of 1 right now, and it is a broken neck.
I don't know. He kind of like softened up though. He taught me a freaking triangle about a year ago. He's like, yeah, there's probably a lot of stuff you should know first. He's like, but with those legs, if you can just do this, you can.
Denver's the same way. He's a damn near. How tall are you? 6'7"?
6'5".
All right. Well, he's like 6'4". His legs are
I think
so.
he's taller than me. Is he?
I don't know, but he's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And the length of his lower body, when he puts those things together, he's already doing a great job of using them to keep people away. It's
dude.
a nightmare to get past. But once he learns how to grab people and lock them up, it's going to be just utterly miserable.
Yeah, because we were just working on. I think I was down and he was down, and we were just working on like how to pivot, like just feel with your feet, inside of thighs.
Yeah, Lee was having you just put him on the hips so you can maintain that distance.
And granted, I know that I don't know anything, and he knows. At that time, he didn't know a lot, but if he knew one thing more than me, it felt like 1,000 things more than me in jiu-jitsu.
That seems to be the way that it goes.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, shit, like if Denver got pissed at me tonight, I'm just going to get my ass beat. Like I was literally like, okay, I'm going to have to come in hot and heavy with some type of an object. Like at this point, I feel like if I know someone rolls, I just literally have to put a broadhead in them. It's my best bet.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, there are other things than bows and arrows that you could use that are slightly more concealable, but go with what you're comfortable with.
For me, I would rather just be like, meet me on the playground at freaking noon and then just freaking send one in at triple digits, dog. Freaking just take a limb out or something and just get in there and go after it.
We definitely need to do another jump trip.
I'm 100% down.
I
loved jumping.
I had taken a good amount of time off from jumping after jumping with you.
I made you do that.
Well, there's a difference between base jumping and skydiving. Skydiving, there is risk involved in that, but I am at a point where I feel like I have enough time in the sport and experience that the risk is much, much lower. Base jumping is a completely different ball game, even though they look very similar, especially like pictures in flight.
Yeah.
The beginning, the end, and a lot of the in-between can be totally different. So that, I'm not necessarily interested in doing that anymore, but skydiving, it's just something I've been doing for over 20 years at this point, and I was able to get Mike and Evan down there. We did a really cool trip, and Jeff Bramstead, the owner of Skydive San Diego, he's like, listen, make this your home DZ for this type of stuff.
Dude, I
was
want
amazing.
that at my home because honestly, I've got like 2 surfboards now at Jocko's.
Yeah.
Like, and I actually want a B&B in SD for like a month. I need to do my writing where I'm not being tackled with like, because every time UPS comes to my house, it has homework in it.
Yeah.
And people don't, it's not like it's nothing I can show. Like I can't make a post like, here's what I'm doing today, because that thing might not be out for 2 years.
Yeah, you're on like 18 to 24-month design cycle.
Yeah, so I'm like, as soon as UPS comes, and especially when the box isn't labeled, like if I see a really shitty tape job on a box, I know it's Barklow. Like it's coming from Sitka, and it's almost like they find boxes from a hobo to send me like samples in. Dude, it's not even a good box that is around the factory. It's almost like they purposely give me an old litter box.
They probably want to make it look shitty so people don't steal it, though.
Maybe.
Because like you're 24 months ahead working on their design process. But if we can get you with enough jump experience, we can do stuff like I had attempted to do in Iceland, going other places and then seeing it from 13,000 feet. Dude, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you can travel
totally cool with that.
to other drop zones. The skydiving culture, specifically in the U.S., in most instances is very welcoming. You come to a new DZ, people are friendly. They'll be your flyers, but we're just talking about people, so there's going to be assholes and great people. But the ability to go other places in the U.S. and then potentially go other places in the world in jump, it's fun, man.
This past, it might even be since we've met, and really since that trip, when we started combining stuff, archery became like palatable for me again, and people listening probably don't really understand that, but when you're so involved, and how, I can't show everything that I'm doing, and a lot of the people that I'm working with, there's NDAs for like startup companies that are like, can you get us to the point where we can launch? What makes me happy is to get my mind off of archery. That's why I'm like trying to learn a guitar, and I'm actually glad I'm doing it, because it's ridiculous how your brain, getting older, cannot remember anything. Like, you know, I can't remember like 5 steps away. Whereas I think when I was a kid, I could. But I'm getting better at that. And then, you know, one of the things that I just listened to this cool podcast, Human Lab. Have you heard of that, Huberman?
I was just going to actually bring that up. I was listening to him on Joe, and he was talking about the elasticity of the mind and how it
with
decreases.
balance.
Yeah, well, no, how it decreases as you get older. So
But how to rekindle it by like struggling with something.
challenging yourself, yeah, stimulus.
So if you're frustrated and you can't do something, your body it becomes elastic so that you can learn fast enough to survive. One of the things is like balance. So I really feel like when I was learning to skydive, because you remember how hard when you're like, dude, you were doing this,
Yeah.
and I'd like stick my arms out because your brain's like, I know you're saying legs,
Yeah.
but instead of me just freaking stretching my legs out, I'd freaking shove these out and just boom.
Oh, I
right?
remember.
So I think with skydiving, I feel like it helped me wake my brain up. Surfing, totally, because you're going to die. You know, especially Jocko, like, takes me right in front of his house. He's like, have you ever surfed? I go, yeah, I did one time with Josh. And he's like, okay, let's go out here.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And so I think all that stuff gets my mind off what technically kind of has become work to me, to where now when I'm here, I feel like I'm so much more refreshed at tax. And people come up to me, they're like, you're so alive right now. And I think it's because I didn't burn out. I've tackled other things that just occupy my mind a little bit. And that's why I'm saying I'm 100% down for trips like that. I have to get more disciplined about scheduling a non-disciplined activity. Like I have to.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't carve out time for it, my schedule is already detonated for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
We're only in the 7th month.
Yeah.
If you ever are able to go to that jiu-jitsu place you identified near where you live,
Pinnacle.
I think you'll have that.
I found Pinnacle. So if you're from Pinnacle, Iowa, please reach out, because I found you guys. You didn't have a great Google map locator, but I found you, and it's close, and
That'll get your mind off archery too.
Oh, I bet.
Real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. My mind's going to be 100% on freaking please. And what's hard about I do want to do jiu-jitsu, even if I never progress. Like I'd totally be down with being a white belt my whole life. Honestly, I would, because I love drilling.
Yeah.
And so with guitar, I've taken 3 different apps I've downloaded and only taken their beginner class, and I will not let myself and it says, hey, if you get to 75%, go to the next lesson.
You're like, nope.
Dude, I cannot freaking do it. I'm still a super beginner on guitar, because I'm still like, if I go to play like Marietta Little Lamb and I can't do it at 100%, I'll just do it the whole freaking day. But that's how I would want my students in archery. I'm like, listen, freaking get this right.
Yeah.
Get this right. You get this right, and everything else is going to fall into place. Like, trust me with that. And so with jits, I feel the same way. Like, if I went and just did beginner stuff, I feel like it would be therapeutic for me, and I'd be fine with that. And it might be healthy for me, because it's kind of like when you and I rolled at Jocko's. I mean,
we didn't roll at Jocko's. I sat there and was documenting your neck being broken for content.
Me and you scrapped.
That was in Salt Lake City.
No, because Jocko goes, as much as I want to watch this, I know you two
He
idiots.
stopped us, actually.
Yeah, because you knew something.
I had been training for like 4 months.
But I knew wrestling. And so, like, as soon as you turned the dial up a little bit, then I freaking went in. And I think I took you down.
Probably.
And then, we were both just going full berserker. And Jocko, like, you heard that chuckle. He was just like, whatever he does.
And then he stopped us.
And then he goes, hold up. He's like, as much as I want to watch you two freaking dudes get after it, he's like, you're on the cusp of hurting yourself right now.
100%.
And we were, dude, because we were like going full throttle, knowing nothing.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, we were just like, okay, we're on a rubber mats, 4 sides of us. Let's just start going stupid.
Have you ever hunted reindeer?
Technically caribou or reindeer.
We need to go to Iceland and hunt reindeer then.
Can you?
Apparently you can. We were driving through some areas that had a bunch of signs for reindeer, and they do allow
we
foreigners.
know that. You know why we know that? Remember the Danish kid that was with us in Alberta? He was the guide. I think his name was Rasmus. He was there one year, and he was a John Deere tractor mechanic from somewhere over there, but he was from Iceland, and I'm sure he hunted there, and he was telling me that they had caribou there.
So we should do that
sure.
because one, it'll knock off the Iceland bucket list for you. Two,
Yeah.
I want to go back. Caribou is like on my bucket list of animals. I was just at a SIG event with Cole Kramer,
Yeah.
who was supposed to be like the leader and the guide of our team, and he failed at both miserably. And we probably would have won if he could have hit 20% of the shots that he was aiming and lining up for with his rifle. That's neither here nor there. I'm
He's
just
probably
saying it's.
used to like a 450 tater tosser with no sights.
I think he's just used to pointing out animals for other people and then maybe following up when
Could
they
be.
gut shoot him into the forest. But I was talking to him about going and hunting caribou. So we should go over there and do that. Iceland was one of the – probably New Zealand might beat it for beauty in some areas. But other than that, Iceland is the most beautiful place I've ever been. The only thing that freaked me out was their comfort level with nudity. So we went to this goddamn natural hot springs, I guess it would be. There's one by Reykjavik, which is the Blue Lagoon, which I have been told is the touristy one. I'm not talking about naked people in the Blue Lagoon. So we went to one in the middle of the country. First off, I didn't realize they smelled like sulfur. That wasn't necessarily enjoyable. But you check in, and they have like a video series.
Like
it's
East Montana tap water? Is that what it's like?
for sure. You can just
That
feel that.
bromine or whatever? Yeah.
Like sulfur to the point where, like, if I stay in this any longer, I might actually throw up. But there's this video is like, hey, make sure you shower before you go into the water. I'm like, yep, that totally makes sense. Here's your towel. Here's your key for your locker. I go into the locker room, and there's fucking naked old dudes everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm with Denver, and he and I are both like,
Are we slinging dick right now
like,
or not?
what is going on? So literally the first thing I saw as I turned the corner was a man's ass crack oriented directly at my face. So I change, and I'm getting ready to leave, and I'll never be able to unsee this. There was a dude who was blow drying his dick pubes, standing there, like with like a fucking snowboarding stance, looking out at other people in the locker room, and I'm not an expert on like men's pubic hair, but it was like 15 inches long, and it looked like a sea anemone floating. And I'm like trying.
Where
I'm like,
a clownfish is going to go in there and hide.
I'm sitting there, and I turn, and I'm like, God damn it! And then I try not to look, but I'm like, fuck, I
gotta see this.
And so from the profile, literally, he's just sitting there, just.
Yes.
That was my intro to the hot springs, and then of course, it was the exact same thing on the way back in. But so we're not going to hit that on the tour. Everything else about Iceland was amazing. I don't know where or why that guy thought that was acceptable, or that's what a hairdryer is for. I guess technically he's correct, but son of a bitch.
Dude, do you remember? Did I ever tell you about when I used to have to? I used to tour through Europe with like some magazine editors. And
I know you've done a bunch of tours through Europe.
Yeah, and so they would drive the car through the day and get me to a new venue, and I would wake up and then do like seminar and then. But you know this, and I'm not like super vocal about it, but I suffer from migraines.
Yeah.
And I really suffer from migraines, and I've done all the brain scans and everything you can do. This has been something I've dealt with forever.
You've had to deal with them in the middle of hunting trips before,
every time.
2-hour naps in the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah, and shooting my bow is what triggers my migraines. So the more that I shoot, the more I suffer for it. And so I was in Europe doing these things, and I was shooting a lot. And what really triggers it is when I have to shoot people's bows that aren't my size. Like as soon as I have to compress the front shoulder to fit someone's draw, if it cuts my blood flow off long enough, like
Game on.
Yeah, it just like once my head fills up, just because of where that one vessel sits genetically in me. So I was in Europe and I got freaking pounded with this migraine, and I took my pill. Then I took ibuprofen on top of it, took the second pill, then took the shot, and I'm still like not, because you know how like that part of my face kind of sags down and stuff.
Yep.
So I was just like, dude, I'll do it, but like I'm not. People are gonna either think I'm drunk or I've had a stroke. And so he goes, I'll see if I can find. I said, I need a masseuse. I need someone to dig this out. And so he called me and he goes, I got you an appointment at, he goes, I got you an appointment at the sauna. And I go, oh, okay, what's that? And he's like, it's like a wellness center. It's got hot tubs and cold baths. And he's like, I got you an appointment with Olga. And he's like, a big German lady, and she'll freaking get that out. So I went, and Olga freaking dropped the elbows on me, and she like loosened me up, and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. So I freaking roll down to a German sauna, like a legit place, like kind of like what you're describing. And so I just roll in to the area, open it up, and all the steam like comes out, dude.
Fucking Vienna sausage everywhere.
Dude, there's 50 Germans who have never trimmed their pubes ever. Freaking in here. And so I just like sit down in the corner with like my freaking, me undies on or whatever. And they're all looking at me and just spitting German out. And I'm just like, no sprechen Sie Dutch. I'm just like, I go, dumb American. Like I'm just, and I know they're saying, get your freaking pants off, kid. But like,
why do they care if you have your pants on or off?
They were. I'm telling you, I was at the time. I bet I was 30 years younger than anyone in there, and everyone's like getting pissed, and they're like throwing towels across like the thing at me, and they're like yelling at each other, like they're going like Hans, freaking this guy doesn't have, he's got his pants on, so like freaking Hans would just come out of the freaking cold bath and just walk over to me and just start talking. And I'm like, I'm saying, dude, I'm keeping my pants on. But it was, and when I came out, they eventually like ran me out. And Andre was out there, and he goes, they seem very upset. And I go, are you supposed to be naked in there? And he goes, always. And I go, yeah, I was in my underwear. And he's just like, yeah, they went like that.
Why do they care?
I think they think you're coming in and peeping, but they're like, hey, if we're going to show you, you got to show us type thing.
Hard pass.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I haven't done that since the football locker room.
I had a guy.
And I was embarrassed then. Like I
had a guy that I went through training with, and he used to like to, when walking back from the shower, he'd have a towel on. But if anybody said anything to him, he would drop his towel and try to wrestle them on the spot, butt-ass naked. It's just like, God damn it, man. Fuck off.
Dude, so have you ever seen the movie Waiting?
No.
With Ryan? Oh, you got to see it.
Waiting? Like W-A-I-Ting?
Yeah, it's Ryan Reynolds.
Who I do enjoy, by the way.
Well, this is one of his beginning ones.
Okay, like a Van Wilder?
Yeah, yes. And what it is, they work at a place called Shenanigans, but it's just Bennigan's, where they've changed the first letters on the sign. So they work at Shenanigans, and it's all about the waiting staff. And so they have this like game to where if you get the other person to look at your cock, depending on what move you pull is how many times they get to punch you. So, like, the brain, like, if you just grab your ball sack and rake it forward, like, the brain is a one punch. So if you turn her and right away you have to yell fag when they look at it, you have to go fag, and then you can freaking sock them because you know you got them. So the bat wing, if you do, like, Barklow with a bat wing, dude, could probably freaking cover this lantern right here. So, because Barklow can spread his nutsack across the cereal bowl. Like, that is a true fact.
How do you know that?
Because he won a bet in the Navy with it. He said he had to soak his balls in a hot bowl, and he said he stretched his sack across the entire cereal bowl. So that would be 2 punches. So the goat is where you tuck it all back. And that's 3. If you invent one, it's 4. And I might have this wrong, but I think that's right. So me and a bunch of my teammates, when I was shooting for the U.S. team, me and a bunch of my teammates watched that on the way over. So I was kind of like thinking, I'm thinking I need to come up with a new one that's 4. And so my buddy Darren got me first. So we just got through shooting. We freaking won medals. We're like in the room. We're freaking just starting to drink because like closing ceremony is gonna happen. We're like partying, and we're all me and Dave are sitting there, and Cooper comes out of the freaking shower, and he's got his towel, and there's like steam, and he kind of has his back to us, and it looks like he's kind of making out like he's gonna pull his undies on like any normal dude would do. And so,
like a respectable human being?
Yeah, and he goes, hey, do you guys know what time it is? And I go, what? And I turn around, and dude, he had wrapped his dick around his watch band, and so it was just this snake sleeve. And he goes, hey, do you know what time it is? And I'm like, oh, and he goes, fag, and he freaking punched me 3 times. And I'm like, what are you going to call that? And he goes, I'm calling it the Gucci band. Well, dude, he freaking cracked his cock, so he ended up having this freaking bruise around his cock. And he was saying like, dude, no one's gonna believe me that I did it doing this dumb game. Like, he was worried about his wife. And I'm like, tell her about the game. And he's like, yeah, right. Like, who's gonna fall for that? So anyway, I spent the next day thinking, how do I one up that? So I freaking did a brass knuckles and got him the next morning. I go, hey, you guys want to fight? I got a cool set of brass knuckles, and I freaking had it and so I got everybody. So you should watch that show. It's good. It's good. Other than that, that's kind of
man.
I mean,
I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard right now. Fuck.
Yes.
It's hard to explain to people how absolutely idiotic adult males are and what we derive extreme amount of entertainment and pleasure from.
It really boils down to like probably 6 things though. If you really if you had a spreadsheet on it and you're like, what's the common denominator of this stage gets burned down, and it'd be like, oh, they started talking about like ways to show each other their junk. And then you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's when everyone started drinking and laughing, and then they burned the Christmas trees on the stage or whatever.
Sounds about right.
Like for you, I'll never forget, like, being all excited. I got home. Season was over. It was like I told I don't know if it was Christmas Eve or if it was the day before Thanksgiving, but I told Sharon, like, I really want to try this cow elk tenderloins. And I'm like, we'll have turkey tomorrow, but we're going to have this unbelievable, because I was excited to have a cow tag because it was the first time I was going to shoot an elk that wasn't like rank during the rut. So I freaking like pull this thing out of my freezer, and I saw it said elk tenderloin. So I just like thawed it out. And then when I go to cook it and I like grab the top of the bag and it like unrolls itself, like your only job was to label the bags.
Which I did.
And there's like dicks on every one of my freaking elk. Every one of my elk bags has a different kind of dick drawn on it.
That's correct. I did label the bag though.
Yes.
It has the year, the animal, and then a special gift.
The cut.
Yeah.
And the dick
and the jib.
Yes.
At the coffee shop, while they were doing the foundation pour, I've hidden cocks all over the coffee shop that'll be behind the construction. And then the construction guys are on board, so we're having a contest to see how many dicks we can hide
Dude, where was it where we were hunting and someone like didn't know your personality and a guide came up to me and goes, I don't know if you should tell Andy, but someone's playing a pretty bad prank on him and he's got purple dicks on his tire caps. And I go, oh, he definitely put those on there.
I didn't put those on there.
But you kept them on.
Somebody put those on at the gym, assuming that I was going to get pissed, and I saw them. I'm like, those are sweet.
Dude, they're
and I've been
awesome.
driving around with them for like 2 years now.
Big old rubber dick just off your freaking air cap.
My daughter saw it the other day. She goes, Dad, why is there a black dick on there now? It used to be purple. I'm like, that's just road grime. She was like, oh, good. I thought you had changed them out.
You put some slime in your tire for a flat.
Yeah, the guy who had done it was pissed that I didn't.
It?
It was a guy from the gym. If you're up there and I can introduce him to him, I will. But
is he
from the jiu-jitsu gym?
Did he work there at one time?
No, he's just a guy I train with.
Okay.
But he was pissed because he thought I was going to have like this eruption of anger, and instead I'm like, those things are awesome. I'm never taking those off. So
I'll just like give this spoiler alert to anyone out there who thinks they're going to like do something for Andy where there's going to be a big reaction. It's not going to happen. He is going to purposely let you down because he knows how bad you want to get a reaction, and then natural you're going to be like, cool.
I had one of my infrequent
when
outbursts in Iceland that I was telling you and Sharon about.
Yeah,
that
was sweet.
That was like a 10-year emotional event that I probably won't have another one for a decade. But it was appropriate for the setting that we were in.
I kind of want to be there for that. I do want to see one of those go down.
I have it recorded on my phone. So like I said, at dinner tonight I can
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Not my proudest moment. I will preface it with that.
Because I definitely thought I thought I had you when I came and surprised you.
Oh, at Denver's house?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw your reflection in the mirror though, or in the window.
I knew that. Like when he pulled in with like lights on and everything, I'm just like, oh, this isn't going to work. But
I was surprised to see you guys.
Your back was, yeah, I knew you were. And I could tell deep down you were like really thankful. But I also could tell you were like fighting it off. You're like, don't let him have this moment. Because I'm like,
I don't think it's intentional like that. I think I'm just a little bit more.
I kind of thought that
flatline,
you would maybe
highs and
have
lows.
a little tear because we hadn't seen each other in like how long was it? 18 months?
No, it hadn't been that long, but it had been a stretch.
It was definitely our longest stretch separated.
For sure.
As brothers.
Yeah, stepbrothers.
Stepbrothers.
Yeah, you have to call me Dragon. What is your...
Call me Mike Concho.
What time are we going to dinner? Do we have a reservation at 7?
We don't have any reservation.
Oh,
We're
sweet.
at an hour right now.
We are at an hour. We can keep going, though. Hunting season is right around the corner. What's it look like for you?
Hectic. And honestly, I'm going back to my roots of what I kind of went on a lot of hunts with newer people that I wanted to really get into hunting and stuff like that. But truthfully, I am very much a loner. Like I'm not a big camp person.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved hunting with you and Barklow.
Well,
that was awesome.
One of the
having
things,
Caleb.
One of the things you've said that has held true about camps is that you can determine really, really quickly whether or not you're going to get along with somebody in a camp. It's like awesome or I hope I never fucking see you again for the rest of my life.
I bet what happened to you guys up at your games when you guys did was it SIG? Who are you with?
The Hunter games, yes.
The Hunter games?
Yeah.
Because that was like unexpected turmoil. I kind of feel like there might have been a few people that were like, I thought this guy, like that litmus test was definitely dipped in some stuff there. So
for sure.
I wonder if there was some fallout with people that you would have assumed would have been best buddies.
The weather was rapidly changing. Like it snowed one day, wet one day. Things were totally all over the place, cold. I mean, it stressed people out for sure, more than they probably thought that they were getting into.
I know.
But
we love that.
I don't mind it at all. If I'm being honest, I take a small amount of joy in other people's suffering.
I know. you and Glover both. Because honestly, we FaceTimed that morning and you guys had Jack in the back seat and he was just sitting there like he's done some cool stuff. So you guys were just like chilling. He was just in the back. But I'm like, how bad is it? And you two were just laughing at like how bad it was. And you're like, people could legitimately die, and you're laughing about it. So I'm like, this would probably be good.
Yeah. Jack Osborne, by the way, fucking awesome.
Yeah, he seemed cool.
Not one complaint. Totally proficient behind a rifle. Seemed to totally. He was super cool.
Yeah. Those things are cool, but like I've never told anyone I have time to do anything like that because I really don't.
I didn't either.
Especially with tack.
I didn't either. Mike invited me, and I slammed it in. I forget where I was coming from, but I was on the road somewhere before that. No, I was going to a jiu-jitsu seminar right after that. So I went from there to Vegas and did 4 days of jiu-jitsu and then went home. So I slammed those 2 trips together.
That's all, yeah. Well, if I ever like retired from archery, I would love to do something like that. But I honestly feel like I'm almost like leaving people that I really am passionate about educating. I feel like I'm like ditching them for a week to go do something that's not archery. And I do love shooting, like you and I shot guns,
yeah.
Our buddy Wes, Tony. I mean, I'm so thankful to be able to like experience that with those guys, and they if I ever have a question on it, like, hey, what is this? Because I have curiosity. It's awesome to be able to know that, and I would love to get really good at that. Like I would love to do like a real sniper school at some point. Like it would be awesome to do one with like you or Terry or Mike, get some guys. I would love to learn that. Like,
you already know most of it. The fieldcraft aspect of it and the stalking portion, we could almost skip the concealment and the use of dead space and being able to read terrain and win. Like that would be easy. It would just be more time behind the gun.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to know those nuances. Cause that one time we shot your, you had that, what was it? Was it 300 Win Mag?
Down at Wes's place?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 300 Win Mag.
And you taught me how to shoot that. We were shooting pretty far.
It's like 700, I think.
Yeah, and then Wes built me a 6.5.
Yep.
And we shot 1,000 together, which was cool. But I remember thinking, I like hitting the gong, or the bell. But I also would love the technicality of like, because you would say, hey, dude, lay your feet out like this and like sink down more, like melt in. That sort of thing I just feed off of. Like I love
It's the same way you teach. You teach it from the ground up.
And what's cool about it too is every time I do take time away from archery to learn something like that, it gives me one way to like relate it to someone that's from your previous career. It allows me like a segue of like, hey, when you were in pistol school and they talk to you about outside thumb pressure, that's like when you're grabbing your bow and you're putting your fingers around, it's just like you doing that. And then they're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So learning some of that stuff from a foundation point of view would be, I personally feel like it makes me a better coach in my field.
Yeah, it's just increasing your vocabulary and ability to connect.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So back to the hunting. You're going old school. You're going to go lone wolf. What do you got planned?
I'm going to go first. I'm going to go with Dusty and Jeremy and hunt Canada.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back up with Red Willow Outfitters, but
are you going to check the bottles of water before you have them?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
Fucking great sickness of whatever year that was.
Yeah. I'm going back, and I'm honestly, it's always been fun for me when we go up there and we have the motorhome and we just go around and knock on doors and hunt crown land and do all that thing within the units that we're allowed to. But I'm gonna double down on that time and just get out there with people that I consider are my brothers and not be picky about what I shoot. I mean, I'm gonna shoot the first legal bull I see. I can guarantee.
Oh, so you're gonna go with my theory?
Yeah. Your theory is if it's legal, shoot and keep shooting until they tell you to stop,
or it dies,
or make you stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you keep shooting even after it's dead.
Sometimes. You got to make sure.
Well, no, you said my quiver holds 5. And
Sometimes you need 5.
meanwhile, your outfitter's like, dude, freaking, I have to field dress that thing. Please stop.
It gets a little wild sometimes.
Yeah, I think some of your previous nature rekindles itself when you see stuff twitching and flopping about. You kind of, because I saw you. Remember that time we all lined up with ARs and pistols,
yeah,
and that we were on that huge ass pack of hogs.
Yep.
And just like, I mean, I've never been in the middle of brass raining on me like that. But every one of us emptied everything we had. And I remember very clearly you guys like lit it up with ARs. And I just had like a Glock. And then I don't know if it was you or Evan called like advance.
It was Evan.
And like, cause you guys had set up and then Evan's like advance. And I remember like you just taking off into that freaking powder smoke. And you just, everything that was flopping, you freaking double tapping on the run, on the way back, just like right at, like just, so I assume that was like part of your training of like, you know, if something's still twitching, give it a couple confirmations. But I think that part of you sometimes reveals itself in the archery format, which is a little weird for me to like watch. But I guess from your background, you probably needed to make sure.
If you're only going to shoot one arrow, just give me one arrow. If you're going to give me a quiver of 5, there's no reason to come back with 5. So what else do you have after Alberta?
Well, just kind of like elk, and I've got an antelope tag. I didn't draw a bull tag that I wanted, but I've got a cow tag there. I'll do that again, and hope to meet up with you somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, I want to meet up with you somewhere, but as of right now, I'm most looking forward to the beginning of August and just getting up into Canada where it's, you know, eating food out of the RV and, you know, just
I wish I could go with you, man. So obviously the end of August. Right before that, you'll be with us in Kalispell for the wedding. But
yeah, dog.
It's fuck, my schedule fills up so fast.
Yeah, I knew that was well.
Honestly, and the Origin camp overlays that week too.
As soon as you went to the Origin camp last year, I'm like, well, we're gonna have to figure out where else we need. You know what we need to figure out? We need to figure out a spring hunt, like when I had the lease in Oklahoma.
I miss you having that place because it was fun, and it's like at the end of the day, not to be like degrading to an animal, but it's like it's hogs. I mean.
You can go light them up every day.
Yeah, I missed. They'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're such a good learning tool, and I think they keep you sharp. Like halfway through the season to have something like that to keep you sharp, I think is critical anyway. But that's a good time. Like that's a good time. We need to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to find that. And actually
we should do an international trip a year for something other than chamois. That
dude, that's still on my freaking like that's still on my wanted dead or alive freaking banner. I want to get back for that. Like we need to.
What would you change about it though that would have given us a better shot opportunity?
Nothing. Dude, I want it to suck that bad again.
Yeah.
I loved and I want a camera guy that
can't hang.
Might kill himself at the end of it.
I'm sure we could just take back Pepe Le Pew.
Dude, that was so fun. I mean, everything about, like, you were so pissed. You're like, if my bags don't make it to Paris, I'm freaking turning around. I'm like, bitch, you're coming here no matter what.
I got stuck for like 3 days waiting for those things.
You had, and you missed, like, the shittiest part of the trip. Like, you know, it was freaking sketchy and awesome. And I think, I don't know, it was so fun. We're just hiking around, and I had never seen one in real life either. So we didn't even really know what we were looking for.
No,
we
and
might not even have shot at one.
I still couldn't tell you the difference between the male and a female chamois.
Yeah.
They look exactly the same.
Hey, tell me our freaking guide, what was his name?
Pierre.
I think it was Pierre.
Was there a child that was just murdered?
No,
that was amazing.
That was you learning to bugle for the first time.
No, I'm way better than that now.
Maybe now. But
I haven't practiced since that last time that you were teasing me with the camera in front of me.
You liar.
I have never People ask me how I call bulls in, and I go, I'm usually standing next to Dudley. I'm like, hey, Dudley, call the elk. Just like last year when I hit that fucking thing right in the shoulder.
I know, dude. You literally hit 1% of the animal where nothing that you... See, if you would have shot that thing with the wrong caliber rifle, I guarantee you it would have broke that arm but not got into the cavity. You just hit it right on the knuckle. But your shot looks so freaking good.
I was so comfortable standing there, just like taking my time.
And that bull's still walking around. He didn't die.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that?
Yeah, because they went and looked for him. Like, they spent a lot of time looking.
Well, if you see him when you're out there, even though you have only a cow tag, just shoot him in the other arm then.
Well, he might have a really cool rack now. Like, one side might be, like, just super awesome. The other side's just going to be really gnarly.
How old would you guess that bull was? That's another thing I'm not good at is estimating age.
I think he was probably 5 to 6.
How about the herd bull that was kind of moving them all over the
9
place? That thing was a hoss.
10. Yeah.
I would have shot him right in the shoulder, too.
Once again, both of those animals were inside of 100, making their way to us.
Yeah.
But honestly, we were in a freaking awesome spot.
Well, and you made the mistake of saying, hey, you could shoot that one if you want to. And I was like,
that's what I was going to come to, is like every elk is following the other elk. And so naturally there's like cows filtering through, and then this satellite bull is like 5th in line.
Just fucking around.
And he comes up to 50 yards, was it? It wasn't far.
It's like 45.
45 yards. And the other bull is like 50 yards behind him, like in the 90s realm. And you kind of like looked at me and I go, hey, dude, it's your tag. I go, you can shoot whatever you want. And you're just like, ding, freaking drawn back. And I'm like, all right, there's a 375 bull right there.
You did not say that for clarity. You were like, go for it.
I'm like, dude, it's a sweet shot. And, yeah, there's like a 375 bull here, and then there's like a 300 satellite bull, and you were just like, whatever, dude, I'm launching. I'm taking the guarantee. And freaking, go full throttle.
Yeah, hopefully I can get a bull down this year. I ended up getting a cow. I have a maintenance tag in Wyoming. It has to be 5 or less on one side. That could be rifle or bow. So I have that as well, and then the bull tag in Utah.
So you're saying you said you had a maintenance cow tag, 5 or
bull.
less? Oh, it's a bull tag. So 5 or less.
5 or less on one side.
So it's got to be a scrubber. Or, well, that big sucker I shot with the deformity, like that bull you shot and knuckled on the arm, he's going to have a massive one side and a weird the other side. So,
because of the injury?
Yeah, like he might only have like 3 on this side, but then this side could be freaking legit. The opposite side of the injury is where it'll be abnormal.
Well, so hopefully this year I can get a bull on the ground. I mean, obviously the Utah tag is probably at least I'll have a good opportunity at it. Yeah. And then I have the Montana tag. Nelson's going to take us for a rifle hunt on that for Christensen.
That'll be cool.
It should be fun.
Yeah.
It was a wild trip last year, being out in gale force winds in a wall tent.
Leah with you for that one?
She is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She
last year was she?
She was. She doubled up. She did a mule deer, buck, and doe from the same ridgeline. And just suppressors are amazing, as you know.
Yeah.
The deer are just sitting there and just, you all right, Bob? Bob's taking a nap. Ow!
Yeah. Yes.
She tagged out literally in a 3-minute time period. It was awesome.
That is
like,
awesome.
Like ear to ear, grin on her face, and then
That's sweet. I think we definitely need to. We need to make sure we have the spring
I think we'll both have more flexibility if we do a spring hunt, and I think it would give us more of a chance to plan, and we could do something. Is there anything in Canada that's spring? Do they do bear up there?
Yeah, bear. I mean, BC bear is like my favorite.
Yeah.
For sure. And honestly, after this past year of letting those guys, watching every one of them shoot something, it was so rewarding for me to watch that. And so, even in Alberta, I told Dusty, I'm like, you need to have a tag when I'm hunting too.
Yeah.
Because it's just they're just my nucleus, man. I mean, they've been they've been part of my pack since like your first team. You know what I mean?
The best part of the rifle trip that we did with Nelson last year was, I could care less about killing an animal with a rifle. Like, I enjoy the process and I love the meat, obviously.
Yeah.
But being able to be there with Leah and talk her through it.
Yep.
And like set it up and put all the conditions in place for success, and then just watch her hammer down. And then Erica had never hunted, to be able to like right on her shoulder, talking to her like, hey, you got nothing but time. And then Denver made a varsity like over 400-yard shot in a full value left to right wind, just dropped this thing. It actually ran and it tripped directly into, I was thinking of you when we walked up on it because its jaw was basically backwards. I was like, oh, goddamn. It went full bore right into it. I could care less about my opportunities in that situation. I was so happy for everybody else.
That's how I felt every time I've hunted with you. I mean, that, there's something as I don't know if I'd call myself a veteran in hunting, but I would just say someone that
I think just about everybody else in the hunting world would, so you're probably safe too.
Well, I would just say as a seasoned hunter, when you get to the point where you're looking for that next thing that like gets you, because even seeing big stuff doesn't ramp me up. If I see something where I'm like, whoa, I'll probably go like, there's a 400. If it was a bull, I'd be like, there's a 400. But I wouldn't be like, oh, I gotta get a shot at that thing. Like, I wouldn't do that. But when I see like you locked in on that first bear and you're looking at me like, okay, walk me through this, and I'm telling like, hey, wait for that one to turn or whatever. All those moments to me are like a hunt. I remember all those more than everything I've shot in Canada for myself when you were there.
Yeah.
Because when I was when I was making the post for here, just to tell people that we were gonna just kind of do an impromptu podcast, I just locked on your picture on my iPhone and just like looked up pictures of Andy.
Oh, there's gonna be some weird shit on there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Your first the first time you let me put face paint on you
was
was
a dick,
awesome. A big dick.
Yeah.
On the side, which is your profile picture when you call me.
Yep.
But dude, I didn't realize we've killed a lot of shit together, but what I remember is I remember yours. But when I was looking back through, I'm like, oh, damn, Andy was with me when I killed that muley and that elk, and you farted on me when I was, like, trying to freaking cape that one.
That's true.
It's from a normal hunter's lifespan point of view, I mean, in that 4-year period prior to COVID, we were on a pretty freaking ridiculous rampage.
Animals were running in every direction except for the one we were coming from.
I feel like the only place we skunked out was France and the freaking turkeys in Kansas.
Yeah. You mean when the fucking cow stuck its head into my turkey blind?
Yeah.
And I sent you a picture. I was like, hey, Dudley, is this what we're looking for?
Yes.
And the flash made the cow's eyes red.
That was awesome. I think that's the only time we haven't like done well.
Well, we got 0 opportunities on the turkey.
Yeah.
Like heard a couple in the distance, and on the chamois, each of us had one shot at over 100 yards, and that animal was at least 6 to 8 feet from where they were when the arrow was released for both of us.
We got
So.
Pierre was like, go for it.
It might have been Philippe. Perhaps Simone. I'm not sure what his name was.
Dude, he'd be dialed in at a sauna.
Oh, yeah.
Did he have Playboy Speedo underwear?
He'd be cock flapping everywhere. He would probably be nude before going into this.
Was it Body Glove or Playboy? Like he had branded G-strings.
It wasn't a G-string. That's excessive. It was
Speedo-ish.
It was boxer. It was briefs for sure.
I think it was like
it was a Euro cut high hip brief.
It was a Euro cut high hip.
What fucked me up about that is him doing the very intensive yoga and stretching
every
routine
morning, dude.
In the briefs in front of the fireplace,
every
which
morning.
No one needs to see. I was okay
trying to have our coffee.
Yeah.
And Pierre would just be freaking getting after it on the yoga mat, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they were. I think he bought a 5-pack because they all had like a big Playboy like logo on them. But like I remember the bright ass orange ones. You remember those with the white bands?
Yeah. It's just like, hey man, I don't need to see what you ate for lunch yesterday while you're stretching. Like, what the fuck? So, on that note, you ready for some food?
It's up to you, dude. This is your podcast. I'm just here.
Well, Sharon's going to get mad at us at some point. We told her till 7. That's 4 minutes from now.
Oh, dude, we're pretty good.
Yeah, it's perfect. We're almost at an hour and a half.
We're pretty awesome. Is there any questions from the peanut gallery quick? You guys got anything you want to ask Andy?
No.
Anybody? Dang, they missed their chance.
Perfect.
That was internet gold right there, because normally your impromptu answers are completely unfiltered and often awkward for me to
sit there and listen to.
Well, to make sure I make it through without a major fallout, yes. I mean, you somehow have came out of several nuclear freaking meltdowns with, I mean, freaking everybody from Seagal to Instagram to CrossFit or whoever else you just speak your mind about.
I just try to tell the truth. Sometimes the truth is hard to hear.
I love it. No, I actually enjoy hearing it when it comes out of your mouth. It's the best.
On that note, until next time. You ready?
I'm good, bro. Thank you.
Boom, done.